Hey guys, today I'm going to be kind of sitting down with you instead of doing a studio vlog, and we're going to be talking about Etsy versus Squarespace. Now, I do have both of them. I've had both of them for coming on 2 years for Squarespace, coming on 2.5 years, 3 years for Etsy. So I'm I wouldn't call myself an expert by any means, but I do know both platforms very well. So I've been getting quite a few questions and DMs about which one certain people should choose, if they should move from Etsy to Squarespace, or should they just start out immediately with Squarespace. So I figured I'd make this video, and hopefully this can kind of help you figure out what direction you should go in. Okay, so I know Squarespace is part of the make your own website kind of thing. A lot of people use Shopify, which you will find a bazillion videos on YouTube for. But I actually really like Squarespace. It's something that a lot of my creative friends also have. And it's also one thing that I've noticed a lot of YouTubers don't write about or talk about, so I figured, why not? If you do not know me, I own Jolu Design. It's an art print and product design company, so if you are in the more creative field or you're looking to get into the creative field, this will probably be the video more for you. If you sell more fashion and maybe tech products, this might not be for you, but maybe stick around and see, because this will be overall just the pros and the cons of each, and then at the end I'm going to tell you who I think should go on Etsy and who I think should move to Squarespace. So let's jump into Etsy. A lot more people know about Etsy. So the pros of Etsy are that it's a very low barrier to entry. So whenever you first start, you actually get 10 free listings, which I definitely recommend if you do decide to go the Etsy route to take advantage of. I just made one of my friends in shop, and I made sure that they had 10 products ready for me to help them put up, because it's 10 free listings. You don't have to pay money for them, and it's a great way to start and really get into the algorithm. The other thing that I will say if you're starting an Etsy shop is to do your SEO research and your keyword research beforehand, so you know exactly what to put in your listings, so you have a better shot of showing up and getting sales immediately. Now, after your 10 free listings, every listing after that will cost you 20 cents. So less than $1. The barrier to entry, like I said, is very, very low, which is another pro of Etsy. Another thing with Etsy is you are immediately shown into their, I believe it's like 3 million people. So if you have no audience, putting your products out to 3 million people immediately is really, really good. So if you don't have an audience, Etsy definitely would be where I would say you should go, because you are getting another platform's views, you're getting their audience, so you can show them, hey, look what I have, like, do you like it as well? So tapping into another platform's audience, just like if you would tap into Instagram or Twitter or TikTok's audience, it's the same thing. You are going onto Etsy. People who shop on Etsy are looking for handmade things. So if your items are handmade, Etsy is definitely the most popular and probably the best choice if you do not already have an audience. The other thing that I really like about Etsy compared to other marketplace platforms is it is very, very user friendly. It's very easy to set up. It's very easy to figure out your stats and your analytics, and if you want to do a coupon or sale, it's very straightforward. It's very put in the best way possible. Now, there are some cons of Etsy. One is that you going on another marketplace, you having a few million people looking at your things also means that they're looking at other people's stuff as well. And if you're in a very popular niche like mine, which is art prints, you're going to have a lot of competition. There's a lot of price gouging, and I've seen a lot of artists have other people copy their work. So having that in mind, it is a little bit difficult. The other thing comes with fees. So Etsy does have a low barrier of entry for fees, but there are also fees on top of fees. So you have a listing fee, you have a relisting fee once you get that sale, then you have an Etsy fee, then you have a shipping fee. So all of that, fees do start adding up, and the busier you get and the more your business is going to grow, the more those fees are going to add up. And that's whenever I decided to go to Squarespace, because my fees were adding up a little bit more, and I just wanted to try Squarespace. I figured my own audience, it may be good. I was noticing that on Etsy I was bringing in 70 to 80% of the traffic anyway, so instead of me sending them to Etsy and then as they're looking at my product, as they scroll down, there's literally, Etsy will show them other people and other shops' products that are similar to mine, which will make my audience that I brought go to a whole different shop. And it's all just in the help of helping Etsy and keeping that audience in Etsy. They don't really care if it stays in your shop or not. The last thing I will say about Etsy is because it's its own platform, it's just like Amazon or Instagram, and as soon as they decide the algorithm needs to change, you have to play by those rules. So whenever their algorithm changes, you have to change with it. If you don't want to, it's kind of sad for you because it's just going to happen like that. You don't have a choice. You can't say, no, we're not going to do that. They're going to do what they want. They have shareholders that have put money in that when they say we want to change this, it's going to happen. You just have to kind of roll with it. Now we're going to move to Squarespace. I'm going to go with, just like I did with Etsy, the pros and the cons of Squarespace. Squarespace, just like Etsy, is very user-friendly. It did not take me very long to figure out how to make my entire website, add things, move things. All of it's very, very simple. And if you do have problems with it, their customer service is amazing. Like, I've never had such good customer service, and Squarespace is definitely like #1 customer service. Now, this can either be a pro or a con with Squarespace. Like I said before, I was sending 70 to 80% of the traffic to my site from Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook. So when it comes to Squarespace, you're bringing your own audience. So if you don't have an audience, then Squarespace probably won't be for you. Or if you don't have a very engaged audience, Squarespace may not be for you. But for me, like I said, I was bringing in a lot of traffic. So I was able to bring all of my audience to this one place. My website was just showing them other prints from my shop that they may also like. So they weren't being moved around, they weren't being sent to other shops and other places. It was just, hey, this is what Joe Lou has to offer. Maybe you'll like these other things Joe Lou has to offer. And it made it overall very simple. It made my audience stay where it was supposed to be. And that's one of my biggest selling points for why I also have a Squarespace site. With Squarespace, you pay either monthly or annually. So again, that's either a pro or a con. For me, I decided to pay annually, so it ended up being about $250. So if you're just starting, that might be a lot of money that you can't put down right now. And I would suggest going to Etsy in that case. But if you are established, you have that very well built-in audience, they're very, very engaged, they're loving what you're doing, and you want to go into Squarespace and you can afford either $250 or their monthly cost, which also does depend on the plan. For selling on Squarespace, you will have to get their e-commerce plan or their e-commerce premium plan, which I will put the prices. You will either have to get their e-commerce plan or their e-commerce pro plan, and that really does depend on what you can afford. I personally just saw the benefit in paying for the entire year and just being done with that immediately instead of having a monthly thing. You also do save money by paying the whole lump sum immediately instead of monthly. Now, another pro of Squarespace is this is your site, so you make the rules, everyone has to follow them, and it really is nice. So if you don't want to change the algorithm, you don't have to worry about that. If you want to put a certain type of branding, you're good. Unlike with Etsy, where you have the big Etsy E at the top everywhere you go. The most customization you can do on Etsy is your little cover photo, you can do your profile picture, how you take pictures of your products, but that's really it. You can't change the colors, you can't change the fonts, you can't do any of that when you have an Etsy shop. When you have your own Squarespace website, you can change the colors, the fonts, anything really. You can put URLs, you can name your products whatever name you want. For me, I have all kinds of random names and it helps me remember what they are. So I'm not just repeating different things. Now, there are some cons of Squarespace. Like I said, if you don't have an audience already, Squarespace may not be for you. For me, I have about 300-ish subscribers on my email list. I have a few hundred people on Instagram, but really most of my traffic comes from Pinterest. I have over 1 million monthly views on Pinterest, and even with all of that, my website is still pretty quiet. I still hear crickets most of the time. Where I've really had and where I really see the benefit of having a website is the fact that I have wholesale accounts. So when it comes to wholesale, you do need a website for people to browse your wholesale listings, pay for wholesale, all of that kind of stuff makes it way easier because you have your own website. So for me, my website has become kind of more of my wholesale area, and then every now and then I'll have regular retail customers. The other thing I will say, and this just goes for a website in general, is if you are not an SEO wizard and you are amazing at SEO and Google is then this may be a little bit hard for you. I still am trying to figure out Google's SEO. Mainly, like I said, my audience is coming from Pinterest because I have linked my stuff to the website. But yeah, when it comes to websites, you have to send that traffic. It's not like Etsy or Amazon that are gonna just, hey, look, I already have this. Look at what we have. Look at what Sam is bringing to the table. When it comes to your own website, you have to say, hey, my name is Sam and this is what I have to show you. It's a lot more work and it's a lot more time consuming. So if you don't have the time, if you are still working your 9-to-5 job, or you may be just trying to grow this, it's going to take a lot of work. So maybe a website is a little too much right now. The other thing is when it comes to getting your first order and all of that, unlike Etsy, Squarespace doesn't have a shipping station. So when it comes to Etsy, you press the little create a shipping label, it creates one. They have a partnership with USPS, so you can print out a label from Etsy itself. It's super, super easy to do. Now with Squarespace, or at least the e-commerce basic program that I have, I don't have that ability. So I had to make an account on USPS. I have to forward all of those information, type it all in manually, to be able to make a label. So it's a little bit more work, it's a little bit more of that kind of thing. I know you can do plugins. I haven't looked too far into it. Like I said, my website just isn't busy enough yet to need that. When I have wholesale accounts, it's very much a streamlined process that I've already created. So I don't have those widgets. You can add them if you need. It is just more money and more monthly costs that you're gonna have to add. So now that I've given you the pros and cons to both, which one is for you? Because I know that's mainly why you're here, is you're trying to figure out which one you need to do. So this is just my personal opinion. It really depends on you. I would literally have to go through your shop and see what your products and your SEO and all of that is like before I could give you an exact thing. But I will say, if you are just starting out, if you do not have a super engaged audience, Etsy is probably the best one for you. If you do have an engaged audience, you have a few sales maybe on Etsy, and you're thinking about doing Squarespace, stop. I made this mistake. Don't make the same mistake as me. Really, really take yourself away from the situation. Don't get personal with it. Really look at it and say, do I really have an engaged audience? Do I have people commenting on my post? Do I have over 100 people liking my post? Do I have over 1 million views on Pinterest? Are they engaged? Do I have a private Facebook group? Do I have a big email list that's really engaged? Because you can have 1 million people on your email list, but if they don't open it, or only 5 people open it, it's not really going to be much. It's not really going to do much. So make sure you have the real engaged audience. If you are on Etsy and you want to move to something else, maybe you want an Etsy shop and you want something else as well, you want to grab the audience and bring them somewhere else, I definitely suggest Amazon Handmade. It is a little bit more of a barrier to entry. You do have to apply and they have to accept or deny you. But if you get accepted, you literally just got into an audience that is 3 times the size of Etsy. And I will make a whole video about Amazon Handmade and the pros and the cons of that as well. But I am saying, as far as you thinking of going from Etsy to Squarespace or Etsy to Shopify, do take yourself away from it. Think about it beforehand. Make sure you really, really have that audience. Maybe you're a YouTube creator, you make studio vlogs that you get a few thousand clicks and comments. Maybe you're an Instagram influencer. You know how to really leverage Instagram influencing. something like that, you're gonna have to know that you have that audience already built into your brand that you can send to a website like Squarespace. So if you don't have those, I would definitely suggest Etsy. If you already have an Etsy shop, I'd definitely suggest Amazon Handmade or eBay. There is Faire if you are looking into more wholesale. They also have Dough. It is joindough.com. It is a retail and wholesale for women. So if you are a female-run business, I would definitely suggest checking that out. They are new, but it's definitely very nice to have it, and I've gotten a few sales from them as well. Now, if none of that applies to you, you have an amazing audience who loves your work, who are their ride or die for you, check out Squarespace. I love Squarespace. It's definitely something that I suggest to people who have built-in audiences that are looking to make their own personal branded website. I suggest Squarespace all the way. I've already had a Shopify. I was not a fan of it. I've had a WooCommerce. I was not a fan of that either. I really like Squarespace. I like that I can sell on it. Overall, it's just really good. You can really brand. You can show people exactly what they are getting as soon as they're on the front page. You can customize it however you want. You can put video and widgets and all this stuff and really immerse your audience into who your brand is and who you're serving. So I hope that helped. It was a little bit of a rambling video, but I hope you got something out of it. Please like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. It gives my video a boost in the YouTube algorithm to show other people who may be interested in this topic as well. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.